Hi everybody, and welcome to the Fall 2018 semester of Introduction to Human Nutrition. My name is Dr. April Fogelman, and I'm your professor for this course. This is the website that you'll be using, wolfware.ncsu.edu, and when you pull it up, you should have your list of courses here, and these are my list of courses. So I want you to pull up your course, Introduction to Human Nutrition, and we'll go through this together. Before I get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a registered dietitian, which means that I've gone through the licensure requirements to become a registered dietitian. It includes lots of courses on nutrition. It includes a clinical internship of 1,200 hours in clinical food service and community nutrition, as well as nutrition education. And in addition to being a registered dietitian, I have my PhD in nutrition from NC State, and I have my IBCLC, which stands for International Board Certified Lactation Consultant. Basically, that's a person who helps mothers and families with breastfeeding issues. So, anyway, so here is our Moodle course. Oh, and I forgot to tell you too, I have 3 kids. Ella is 6, Caitlin is 3, and Autumn is 9 months. And so last year, when I was teaching this course, Autumn was born in the middle of the semester. So some of the videos I recorded last year when I was pregnant, and I went through a period of time last year where I was updating the course content, so everything should be updated for you. And there are a few towards the end of the course that are not re-recorded, but it's me teaching in front of a class. But that content didn't really need to be updated. It was all fine. So, and I have found that some students prefer watching the videos of me teaching in front of the class as opposed to me talking to my computer screen like I am now. But some like it better this way versus the other way. So you really can't please everybody. So there's a little bit of both. And anyways, so on this Moodle page, there's announcements. So when I post an announcement, which I'll post them at least every week, they should go to your emails. So make sure that you're getting these announcements every week. Here's the syllabus and the welcome letter, and I'll go through each of those here in a few minutes. Okay, you see what I see, how my page looks. Yours won't look exactly like this because I'm editing. So right now this is grayed out for you, but this was last year's video, but it will have this year's video once I'm done recording it. So it's laid out very nicely for you. It has the learning objectives here. So if you click on the learning objectives, you can go through. Make sure that you do these learning objectives. They're going to be the best way for you to study for the exams. If you just go through and you make sure you can complete these. Okay. So the learning objectives here, so Unit 1, Life's a Bowl of Cherries, but how many should you eat? This is basically introductory material for the course. It's a lot of material, and the introductory unit lasts a few weeks, but there's a lot of good stuff here. So there's the learning objectives. And then this breaks it down by week. So week 1, which is this week that we're in now, you watch the welcome video, and then you watch these 2 lectures. Okay, and so the notes here are associated with the lecture, so you can watch the lecture and then you have the notes. And then week 2, this is the material that you complete, week 3, and so on. And then you get to quiz 1 and it tells you the date that it's due. Those are also listed in the syllabus. Now I will say that for the quizzes, you have unlimited time to take them. So you can open it, read it, close it, go back to it, as long as you don't submit it. So you really should be able to get 100 on all your quizzes because you're able to use your notes. You're able to take as much time as you want on those. as long as you complete it by the due date. And exams are to be taken at Delta or with a remote proctor that can be arranged through Delta. And for each exam, it tells you the topics that are on the exam. So the rest of the semester is just like that. You see the learning objectives and then the lecture. So for example, with Unit 2, Digestion and Absorption, this lecture is a lot longer. So these other ones are kind of short, and there's a few of them. But this one's longer, so this one's maybe about an hour and a half long. So for 1 week, that's plenty of information for you. And then you take a quiz on that information. Okay, and then there's going to be some discussion forums throughout the course, and they are they're listed down here. So you'll see those, and I'll give you deadlines for those. And I just want you to complete 2 of these. There's 5. I just want you to complete 2 of them throughout the course. I want you to post, and then I want you to have replied to 2 other students. Right here are the food diary resources. You'll need to complete a food diary during the course, and we'll have directions for you regarding how to complete the food diary. Here are some resources on keeping a food diary and a chart that you'll use for your questions. I need to add the document that has the new questions on it, so the assignment's different this year than it has been in years past. So all of that will be found here, and that food diary is due on October 19th. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the syllabus with you. My teaching assistant is Miss Catherine Smith. She graduated in May, and she's going to continue working with me this year, helping me with some grading and things with the course. Here's the course overview and objectives. I'll let you read that on your own instead of me reading it to you. There's no prerequisites for this course, but there is some scientific information, so just let me know if you need help with any of the concepts here. So by the end of the semester, you should be able to describe the basic functions of the major nutrients and identify their primary food sources, explain the causes and dietary management of some nutrition-related conditions. Now, just to let you know that after you complete this course, you're not going to be prepared to go out and help people with these certain nutrition-related conditions, but this is to give you a basic understanding of those conditions. And then you'll be able to identify the basic types of nutrition-related studies and describe potential limitations of each study design, and then critically evaluate some claims associated with study findings or a diet or a product. And then describe societal factors that serve as barriers to or facilitators of nutrient intake for better or worse. And during your food diary, you'll reflect on your own intake. You'll assess the quality of your own diet based on current dietary recommendations, and then improve your diet if you need to and want to, or at least you know how. The exams will be 75 minutes long and will have about 35 to 45 questions each. There'll be multiple choice, matching, true, false, and they will cover the material indicated on the syllabus, including the learning objectives. So again, make sure you do the learning objectives. That's your study guide for the exams. I make every effort to write fair exam questions, but I'm only human and sometimes I make mistakes. I have a very fair process. If you believe that you answered a question correctly and I have it marked wrong, you can do the following. You can type up a document containing the test question or questions, the documented correct answer, your answer, and your logic as to why you think you are correct or why the question is unclear. I ask you to do it this way for me because with so many students, there's 120 students in this class, and I have another class as well. I get confused if you just email me and say, hey, I missed this question on the test, question number, whatever it is, Can you explain it? Well, I don't really understand. I have to go into the exam, look at your exam specifically, and try to figure out what your logic was. So that just does not work. When I get a lot of those emails. If you email me like that, my reply will be, look at the syllabus at my policy for disputing an exam question. Also, a lot of times through this process, it becomes clear to me that students are not watching the lectures. So it's pretty obvious if you dispute a question and you have not watched the lecture or you studied using Google to answer the learning objectives instead of watching the lectures and getting the information from the lectures and the notes. So please only do this if you sincerely think that I made a mistake or that you had a different logic when looking at the question. And everybody looks at things in a different way, and exam questions are very difficult to write, and so I completely understand if there are some bad questions. I'm not perfect, and I write some bad questions sometimes, and I'm never trying to trick anybody. So take advantage of this in those situations. So while we're talking about tests, I'm gonna pull up the welcome letter really quickly and go over that. This welcome letter just basically goes over, if you have technical issues, please contact the help desk. I cannot help you with technical issues regarding the course and Moodle and things like that, so please contact the help desk. For taking tests, the syllabus indicates a 3-day window of time during which you can take your tests and the final. The options are at the Delta proctoring sites, using a remote proctor, making arrangements through Delta. If you want a remote proctor, you have to submit your request at least 10 days prior to their first exam, which would mean that you need to submit the remote proctor request by August 27th. Making up exams, they can be made up with a valid university-approved excuse, and only if I'm notified within 24 hours of the end of the testing window, and it can only be rescheduled within the next 24 hours. Otherwise, it can count as a 0, but the lowest grade is dropped. Okay, so that is the information about the test for you. So test makeup. Final exam will be about 75 questions long and will include about 45 questions from the last portion of the semester and then 10 questions from each of the previous 3 tests. These may be the exact same questions or combinations of the same questions. I always get emails from students, what's the final exam going to be like? So hopefully this answers your question before the final. There'll be 5 quizzes due during the semester. Again, you have unlimited time to take the quizzes, and as long as they're completed by the due date. The food diary, it's kept for a minimum of 5 days or a maximum of 7, and you'll analyze your diet and answer questions. And so one important point about the food diary is that you're graded on your ability to answer the questions and your quality of work, not on the quality of your diet. So don't worry about not putting in, something that you ate because you're afraid of being judged. That won't happen. Don't worry. Submission guidelines. I'm not as worried about this anymore because Moodle makes it so much easier to grade now than it used to, so I'm not really that worried if you don't put it in this format. But I will say you are expected to hand in only your own original work, and we reserve the right to award 0s to papers with similar phrasing and content. I did turn a student into the Office of Student Conduct this summer for plagiarism. It was the first time I've ever had to do that, and it was a really miserable experience. So please don't plagiarize. We will have 4 discussion forums, and so you just need to reply to at least 2 of them, respond to the prompt, and then respond to 2 other classmates. Here's the grading. So tests, there's 3 total. The lowest is dropped, so there's basically 2 exams count towards your grade. Final exam, food diary project, quizzes, and participation. The participation is really the discussion forums. So one thing to note is at the end of the semester, you're going to see your grade calculated on Moodle, and it's not really correct how Moodle does it. They weigh everything together as if they're weighted the same. So just go by this percentage for each of your items, and then that will help you calculate your grade. All right, here's the policy on late assignments and incomplete grades. And then the other policies on the syllabus, you can go through and read these as well. Test windows are right here for you, the food diary project due date, quiz due dates, and the list of topics. So if you have any questions, I guess I'll go through this with you. So we have the introductory material. We'll talk about digestion and absorption, and then we'll go through each of the nutrients, so carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, water, vitamins, and minerals, and then at the end we'll talk about energy balance and weight control and exercise nutrition. Okay, so let me know if any questions come up, and I'll be happy to help you with that throughout the semester. So I hope that everyone has a great semester, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video.